All right, guys, how's it going? Welcome back to All for United. This is a match reaction. United have just drawn 0-0 with Chelsea at Old Trafford on a very, very rainy afternoon in Manchester. It's very rainy, to be honest. I was out coaching earlier today. It was wet, to say the least. I'm joined today by Oliver, Temi, and Mark. Guys, how you doing? Are we all still awake? Because that was pretty dull.
Just about right, yeah.
I mean, there's loads of things we can cover here. I'm struggling where to start. First of all, comment section, get in and let me know what you think because there's loads of talking points. There's absolutely loads. But we're going to start with the lineup because I think that's a major talking point. We'll start with Temi. What did you make of the lineup in the first place? Because I was confused. Or how did you find it?
I was definitely I was confused because we played so well using three at the back. And I'm not talking about defensively. I'm talking about the way we passed the ball, the way we moved the ball from back to front was so much more fluid against PSG. Obviously, we didn't have as much of the ball. I'm curious to see what the possession stats were in this game. I mean, we were struggling to have the ball, especially in the first half. The Maguire pick was, I don't want to say it was shocking because obviously he's the captain, but to be fair, the defense played really, really well. But when we play four at the back, and this has been the case even last year, if we look at how we play with four at the back, we struggle to fluidly get the ball from back to front. It is slow, it's languid, it's boring. And when we don't have the ball, if we're not pressing, we just look like we're parking the bus. So yes, to answer your question, I think the line, I think he wanted to keep, shirt up. I think he wanted to soak up pressure. But that being said, I think we needed points. I think we needed 3 points, especially where we are in the table. Granted, you take a point against Chelsea, but I think Ali probably let himself down a little bit by picking this lineup today.
I mean, I can understand sort of why he picked the midfield that he did because obviously we talked about it in the preview as well, the hard-working nature of McTominay and Fred. That's fine by me. I don't mind that. I think the formation was a major talking point. Just to let you know, by the way, I just looked on BBC. They reckon the possession was 50-50. It definitely wasn't.
Yeah.
It really wasn't. Oliver, what did you make of it? Do you think it was just in terms of – do you think – we set up wrong, or did Chelsea set up well to nullify us? Because throughout the game, I felt that they played sort of to because they're well known for having a very, very bad defense. So it felt like they set up to sort of nullify us a little bit. What did you think?
Well, I think it wasn't a great day for the fans. I think they both set up to be stagnant, keep each other in check, and keep all the danger men where they should be. But it was always going to be a battle in midfield. As soon as you saw McTominay and Fred, you knew that was what was coming. Slow transition, but solid. Brilliant recovery, tenacious, get a tackle in. And I think McTominay did that brilliantly today, by the way. Just that on you. But like Sammy's saying, as soon as we were using 5 at the back against PSG, it gives us that, infinitely better passing range because of the width. We actually like to play wide. The attackers like the width, the overlapping. And I think last season, there was many a time when we were playing 4 at the back, and I think it was a little bit of lack of sort of concentration, but our right and left backs tended to, want to attack and then slightly, forget that they are defenders in a back 4. And that's cost us points. So I think today they did their jobs in a back 4, but unfortunately with that midfield in front of them, there wasn't much going on. It's all right having Mata there with a footballing brain to break through, but I think Thiago Silva was there to be had today, and we did not use that opportunity well enough.
We really didn't.
It was in a back 3, but the pace up front. As originally when I saw the lineup, I thought he's gone for Dan James and Rashford to just absolutely terrorise him, pull him out of shape, dart past him. I forgot Dan James was on the pitch. To be honest with you. He was there to occupy Reece James, which worked. But for me, it's left it too late. I think we were lucky against Newcastle in playing that tactic, bringing on the attackers, bringing on the stars when apparently everyone's got a bit tired. I think everyone's fit enough now that they could do 90 minutes full throttle. So that tactic is not going to work for me.
Chelsea.
Well, you make the point that the defense did well. I thought that was a good positive, especially Lindelof's performance. I thought he played very well.
Brilliant.
A lot of the comments are saying the same thing. Clean sheet is the only positive from the game. Abject performance, lots of side-to-side and backward passing, no attacking intent, no risk-taking. Never truly stretched a poor Chelsea defence. And that's spot on. Mark, I mean, what did you make of our general approach to the game? Because I said it in the first. Obviously, I was running the live tweets again, and I said that it was just boring. It wasn't. We weren't doing a lot with the ball. So, was it a case of we haven't approached the game in the right way, or what do you point it towards?
Yeah, I think it was an awful approach. I said this to a few people before the game. I think as soon as you put a formation out like that, you know exactly what's going to come. I'm furious today, quite honestly. I'm very much an Ollie in man, but I think he's severely let down everybody. I think it's at times like these where I feel that he needs to take a bit more risk. You know, I know Chelsea have got an incredible, or a pretty good, at least minimal good front six, but their defense is arguably worse than ours. And I feel that Mourinho was lambasted for on lots of occasions for playing defensive and trying to not concede and maybe get them on the counter attack. But I'm really, really disappointed today. I think it was abysmal. I think it's that classic saying, don't fix what doesn't need fixing. And I know we only saw one game of it, but they were superb against PSG. And why he didn't, the teams that win titles generally keep the same formation until they're found out, and they have the same defense and they have the same consistency. Liverpool had that last season. Now, I know they played one game together, but when you play Fred and McTominay together, they don't really complement each other well. However, if you have a third defender behind them to shore up the back, they are allowed to go forward a lot more, and that's what they weren't able to do today. And it was boring. I know we had opportunities, but I'm really, really pissed off with Ollie, quite frankly. And I do not want to see that again. He's got a fantastic record against the Big Six. And he knows that. Everybody knows that. He knows how to set up. He is tactically good. I don't want to hear about that anymore from Ollie, but he is royally messed it up today, and I feel it was so disappointing. I don't want to sit there and sit there for 2 hours and see football like that. It's appalling. We're Manchester United and we're far better than that, and I appreciate it's Chelsea, but when they've got a defence like that, you go at them. You take risks. If you score more than them, you've won the game. And yes, it was a great thing to have a clean sheet today, and that's something that everybody was concerned about, the defence, but that didn't happen. They did look short, but going forward we were appalling. Rashford, I love him. He's doing some great stuff off the pitch. I actually think he's a phenomenal player. I think he's had some great games, scored some good goals, but sometimes his decision making today for the two opportunities he had was appalling. He had a lot of space to score that first goal on the 35-minute mark. He should have put that away. He was unfortunate with the second one, but I think by that point I was already a little bit annoyed at him. Do you know what I mean? And he's got everything, but sometimes, like against PSG, on a couple of occasions when he was able to sort of play it to another player, he didn't do that against PSG. And today, I'm not saying that's what he should have done, but he should have got that. If it was Greenwood, he would have put that away.
Yeah, and on the topic of Green, I thought he was lively when he came on. Another substitute that came on, of course, was Cavani. I'm intrigued to see what you guys make of his performance. I'll go to Temi first. What did you make of Cavani when he came on?
Yeah, he was fine. I think he obviously still needs to get up to match speed. You know what I mean? He had the very close chance in the box where a really beautiful flick that almost, another day goes in. But I mean, he didn't do too much today. I mean, and it's not his fault. I think he was just a product of what was already a very negative system. So there's not much you can say. I feel like even Pogba today, I thought Pogba was very, very lively, but at the same time, it's like there's no triangles, there's no fluidity. So, he's doing things, over the system, if that makes sense. He's doing things out of his natural ability. there wasn't anything fluid about what happened. You know, the subs came on. You know, you think Cavani and Pogba come on. I mean, that's like when you see those two subs come on, that should like strike fear into any team. But Chelsea didn't. It didn't. At the end of the day, it didn't really do anything. But Cavani's going to have better days. Obviously, he still needs to get up to match fitness, and once he does that, I think we're going to see a really, really good player.
Yeah, I don't think. Sorry,
yeah, go on, Mark.
No, I was just going to say with Cavani, you know, you're absolutely right. If you see Cavani and Pogba come on from the bench, you know, it got me excited. I was thinking, right, this might change up the game. You know, it might give us a bit more fluidity. It might give us another option, but we didn't have that. But you can't blame Cavani with that. I said the other night, I would have been shocked if he was in the team for this game, and he was. And that's only because he hasn't played since March. He's only just come into training. He's just come out of isolation. And so I don't want to even, do you know what I mean? I don't want to talk negatively about him. He did what he had to do. He had a couple of good opportunities, terrific block by Thiago Silva, who had an immense game. And on any other day, he might have put that away. So for me, Pogba was okay. I think maybe he gave the ball away a couple of times when, you know, he tried to do too much with it. But he did look lively, and I'm pleased with that. But I don't want him to become a player that's good coming off the bench. I want to see that all the time. We know that he should be a starter week in, week out, and that's what worries me a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, that's two performances now where Pogba's come on and sort of look good. It's when he starts these games that you expect him to do a little bit more, and perhaps we've not seen that enough. And Cavani, I thought he gives us a different option. He is a big name. He is a proven striker, and I thought he looked dangerous. And I mean, he nearly scored his first touch of the ball. That was exciting. But I felt like even when Pogba came on, the midfield just wasn't effective. Now, when we talk about the midfield, I've put it forward 100 different times on this channel already in the short time I've been here that I want us to play a diamond. And that diamond would consist of McTominay or Matic or Fred in the six, with Pogba, Bruno, and a man that isn't getting enough game time. Now, Oliver van der Beek, talk to me. Why is he not playing?
Well, as I said last week, I'm not entirely sure that he was an Ollie signing, or maybe third choice down the list, because I see no reason why he isn't playing. He would fit in multiple systems that Ollie has employed. He's a very versatile player. If you saw his face when we closed in on him, he looks, forlorn. What am I doing here? Was that a bad move? And I think for everyone saying that he's a great man manager, that's a very good player looking really quite pissed off. Rightly so, in fact. And, after his cameo, when he came on and then basically was at the heart of that goal with Pogba, I think him and Pogba work well together. It's all very well having Mata on to, break down through the defence. Van der Beek can do that. He shows up late in the box. Pogba, when he was playing today, it was twice. It was him, almost one-on-one with Thiago Silva, and he tried to do some, a special flick, this, that, and the other, the showmanship side. But with his legs and pace and stride, he could have beat his man and had a shot twice. And you just, Jesus wept. What is he doing sometimes? Whereas Donny van der Beek seems to have this very mature head on him. He makes the right decisions. I mean, we've not seen a lot of him in our shirt, which is sad. But watching him, for Ajax, he's a very clever player. And I feel like I can't, for the life of me, understand, unless there's some sort of, problem behind the scenes that we don't know about. It makes no sense to me not to use probably one of the fittest players in our team. Because if you've seen him running around, not even a slight scent on him. He is, still kept himself very fit compared to the rest of our squad. And you can see, we are still blowing hard at the end of the game. Why not use a fit, fresh, clever young player that clearly has more to give than some of the players from the abject displays we've seen?
Yeah, you're about to say something.
Yeah, I think the big issue is, one, first of all, I think we should be just a tad bit more patient on this Van der Beek getting grown into the team. So I hate bringing up Liverpool in any fashion, but remember when Fabinho got signed and he went like 7 weeks of just not playing, and people were just absolutely like, what? Like, how is this player that you desperately need on your side not playing? And then slowly but surely he became a pinnacle you know what I mean, in their side. So I think we just need to it's still 4 or 5 games in. We need to be a little patient. The second thing is, I think Ollie truly views him as Bruno's backup. Like that,
I was literally about to point that out.
That is the main issue. I think Ollie truly sees him as a 10 and doesn't really view him as somebody who's going to, you know, play off the right-hand side, play off the left-hand side, play in a, you know, deeper pivot. He views him as an offensive weapon. So, you know, he chose to bring in Pogba and Cavani this time. You know what I mean? So obviously Pogba's ahead of him in the pecking order when it comes to midfielders, you know, and I think he should be in the moment. But yeah, I just think we need to exercise a little bit of patience because I know that fans are itching to see him, and he's obviously a talented player. He's, you know, he has experience, but I think Ollie, for instance, last year with Greenwood, he got kind of gradually. You know, a lot of people were itching to see him because our wing play was so awful and our forward play was so awful. But I think Ollie made the right decision in kind of bedding him in very slowly and then waiting for the right time to kind of let him shine. So I think that's what he's doing there.
Where I stand on it is, you see Ollie talking about fitness and stuff. I don't like putting too much of it down to not having a preseason, but that might be something. I mean, I've just seen a comment here that I'm going to address. Look, in today's market, 45 million, and unfortunately, it shouldn't be the case, but that is what a backup costs you nowadays. That is what a backup costs you. I don't think he is a backup. I think that he will eventually become a first-team player, and I think if we were to chuck him in now, the only way we can do that is a diamond. But he's not the only player who didn't play today. There is another player that I'm going to get to. I'm going to give it to Mark to talk about this one. I'll pull up the comment that brought it up if I can find it. It's Alex Telles. Now, I mean, do I really need to get into the fact that I do not want Luke Shaw starting? I think everyone knows it by this point. Jacobs come in and said, the biggest frustration was the fullbacks in attack. Great defending, 2 absent in attack. Good. Right. Someone said it. I didn't have to say it. Why does Luke Shaw not provide that, and why should Alex Telles have been in there, Mark? And do not tell me that you think Luke Shaw did all right.
I actually did think he did all right. Sorry, mate. Now,
I thought he did all
right. Ollie wanted to set up defensively. I would have loved to have seen Telles come on, but I'm not sure. Well, again, if we'd played that back 5 with Shaw in there as well and Telles, then we could accommodate them both. But Ollie was playing safer than that. I don't think when you go into a defensive game which I don't agree with, by the way. I don't believe we should have just played for the bloody draw. But if that's how Ollie wants to set up, then I don't think that Telles can really. I mean, you could have even played him where James was. I feel a bit sorry for James. I've gone into him a little bit recently, but I thought he was his end product. You know what as well. I feel that the 25 million that we were perhaps offered by Leeds, every time I see him now, I feel that we should have done that. I really do. And I don't mean that harshly on Dan James. I know he's young. I know he's played more football than what he should have. But his end product is the amount of times he was just running at players and didn't have any idea. He didn't know who to pass it to. He didn't know how to take them on or anything. And I don't want to be too critical, but it was really appalling. But anyway, we could have played Telles there, perhaps. And then, you would have seen a lot. We saw how phenomenal he was against PSG and whipping the balls in and his pinpoint accuracy. That's exactly what Cavani needed. No one in our team really, Bruno, maybe Pogba's obviously a good passer of the ball, but he's not going to be whipping him from the side. You really need to have more from a wing back, really. But that's why he wouldn't have started with Telles today. And I can see that, but whether I agree with how he should have started with Telles and he should have started with the back 5. One thing I want to say about Donny, just very quickly, whilst I know we do need to show some patience, he is unbelievably fit and he came in with full match sharpness. Now, we have seen him in a number of games now, bit part in the League Cup, where he's been brilliant, and that's usually where he's around Mata and Bruno. Now, I'm not saying don't throw Pogba on. He's obviously a game changer, phenomenal player. But instead of Pogba coming on, why didn't he perhaps have brought Donny on when Mata was on the field and when Bruno was on the field? Because we saw those 3 link-up play. And maybe that would have been something that could unlock Chelsea's defence. Because I think that those 3, with the intelligence that they have, I think that's something that could have exposed Chelsea's defence, and I would have probably have put him on. I understand the patience thing, but I don't think this is one of those times. I feel like he is ready to go. He's got the IQ, he's got the match fitness, and he should be able to run rings around anybody. I also feel that Bruno should probably drop to a number 8. And Van der Beek's best position is a number 10. So I feel that probably Bruno isn't always in the right position. That's why you see him drop back all the time. Yeah.
Yeah, Bruno, I agree, which is why I think he would work better in a diamond, because he has that ability. Then you have the license to have those 3 that can rotate within each other.
Yeah.
And it just gives you a bit more fluidity. Just look at the midfield. It's just the midfield we started with today. It was okay. It wasn't a bad midfield, and when the players we brought on weren't bad, they were world-class players that we're bringing on here. So I don't understand. It's hard to pinpoint where it went wrong, but I thought as soon as Chelsea started playing, they were playing for a draw.
Yeah, this performance isn't, in my opinion, this type of performance isn't shocking. If you look throughout the course of last year, this was kind of the standard. Let's be frank. We were, especially in the first half of the season, specifically pre-Bruno, this is how we played. This is how we played a lot of games. Boring, languid, 4-2-3-1. Not much creativity. Martial isolated. This time it was Rashford, who's not as good as the number 9 as Martial. No. So this isn't shocking to me. So I'm not, Mark is clearly frustrated. You know what I mean? And as he should be. But this doesn't shock me. This does not shock me at all. This is, I don't want to call it volleyball, but this is the type of football we played, in my opinion, a majority of the time under Oli. Kind of boring, kind of slow. Not enough movement. There's not enough triangles, not enough passage of play from back to front. So Chelsea did play for a draw, though, to be fair. They definitely, I think Frank, he sees a big problem in his defense, and he wants to make sure that they're getting clean sheets at all costs, even at the maybe sacrifice of some offensive firepower, because Werner was poor today. Havertz was poor today.
That's the thing, though, and that's what I was trying to say. Sorry to interrupt, Timmy.
No, go ahead.
When we came back from lockdown, we'd obviously just signed Bruno. We were phenomenal against every team, but we still struggled to break down the lesser teams. Okay, now I'm not saying Chelsea are the lesser teams, but they played like one today. They played like they wanted to sit back. They didn't want to allow us to come at them, and this would have been the perfect opportunity for someone like Donny to come in and be able to break those teams down. That's what he's come in for. I think that Bruno can do it, Pogba can do it, but they're just ever so slightly different players. And I feel that Donny brings a higher level of intelligence in order to break down a lesser side like that. And I feel that Chelsea would have been the perfect opportunity for him. That's Mark, all I'm saying.
Yeah, Mark, who do you think who do you think Donny should have come on for? Obviously the 3 subs was Pogba, Cavani, and Greenwood. So who do you think should have come on out? Or who should have come off outside of? Did Scott come off for one of them?
Scott came off.
Yeah, he came off for Mason.
I would have kept Fred on for a little bit longer. I thought he was better than Scott's there. I think Scott did a good job, but I just feel with Fred, he's a little bit more technically gifted and can give you better passes moving forward when he's in the right position. So I probably would have taken off Scott. I would have put on Donny, or I might have taken off James and put on Donny. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Again, it's very. I'd love to see us play a diamond formation, but I just feel that when you have Tellers that's exciting going forward, he's not particularly good at defending. And then Wan-Bissaka, I think actually he's not given enough credit for going forward. I think he's better than a lot of people make him out. But defensively, he's brilliant. Going forward, he's not as good. So I feel that if you play a diamond, it's going to expose you a little bit more. That's my feeling anyway.
What I'd like to say on that, the whole Tellers thing, I've heard a couple of people, when I was on the live tweets and when I was talking to people before today, that Tellers wouldn't work in a back 4 because he's not as good coming back. Whether it's a diamond or not, they were saying he's not as good coming back. But neither's Trent. Trent's not as good defending as going forward.
But
Now I don't want
very
to.
true.
They dominate the ball, though. I mean,
Of
they,
course,
A centre back behind him there. To be fair,
that's the difference. But regardless, if he has the pace to get forward, so he's let's face it, he's not stupid. He's a professional footballer playing at the elite level of the game. He knows he needs to track back. He'll know his role. So we can't just sit here and say, "Oh, he's not as good defending, so let's not play him." I feel like he should learn the role. Surely, I mean,
I think it's.
But that doesn't happen overnight, does it? It's
No,
not,
of
you're
course
not going to
not,
be
of
able to
course
say
not.
to someone, right, I want you to do this there, and then be able to hit the ground running.
Yeah,
That's
of
the
course.
thing. That's something they have to develop over time. And one day we might be able to turn around and say, actually, yeah, he's brilliant going forward, brilliant coming back.
Yeah,
I think it's less about the back four and more of how the midfield is set up in itself.
Yes, I agree.
If we're playing 1-6, that's exposing our back four. You know, the reason we have Fred and McTominay in there is to protect our back four or our center backs, which we feel aren't a good pair together. Victor, even though they are technically our best center backs, they're not a good pair, right? So we have those two, we have those two holders, you know, protecting them at all times. If you play a diamond and you push your fullbacks high, you have one sitting midfielder, then they become isolated way more often than not, and that's just not. Victor got isolated a couple times and did really, really well today. Really well today.
yeah.
But,
well, that's to say, Terry, with the Scott and Fred, right, playing in a diamond, there's only one player I could fathom having there, and that's Matic.
Yeah.
You know, do you remember when
I wouldn't play either of them. I would play Matic.
When he fell back, he looked lost as a centre back.
I agree.
That's the problem. You can't play Matic.
Matic can because he fights back. So I think you've sort of put the two together. You've got one good midfielder in Fred and Scott, and I think that that is the issue with Ollie's selection. He has to play those two together because they're always the weaker link if they're put with Pogba or Bruno or Matic. You know,
it is clear that we need a new.
I think those two together work. But it's workmanlike, it's not an engine room with creativity. It is simply a block, I don't know what that says about those two, but, getting forward, that's why we've been stagnant when we played with them. As Temi said last season, we had to. It was more bore out of necessity than want. So, what did we do? We went and bought a creative midfielder that can play, a little bit deeper back. And we haven't used him yet. I don't know whether maybe he's not confident that he'll work with one of those two. But as you say, when Matic is fit, then maybe we might start to see a bit more of Donny van der Beek. Well, let's hope anyway. Because, it gives him a bit more confidence of the license to go forward. I'm personally not confident if I see McTominay at the back or Fred at the back. It's like Troy Deeney said. When they played against him, they purposefully isolated Fred. Just keep at him. And he will lose the ball.
Whereas I'm not sure I agree on that one, but yeah.
I disagreed with Troy when he said that. I think that was a bit of a. Yes,
Fred's our most press-resistant player.
Yeah, he does lose the ball. He does lose the ball. There was a play today where it was a pretty poor pass in the final third, and we were kind of on our backs against the wall. But I think Fred, he's so underrated in my opinion because he wins the ball back. He plays he takes more risks than Scott. That's why I like him a lot better than Scott, in my opinion. He's gonna play the ball through the lines and lose the ball more than Scott because he's playing more risky passes. But to your point, Ollie, I do agree that the Fred and McTominay thing. I think it has an expiration date. I don't think you can continue to. We're not gonna
do anything.
Be in the top four playing Fred and We're not going to be in the top four playing Fred and McTominay week in, week out.
We need to sign a new six.
Not going to happen.
What does that tell you about Fred and McTominay?
Well, I do feel
players,
I do feel that a central defensive midfielder is certainly something we need to look at for sure. Now, what I will say is Scott, unfortunately, maybe. What I will say is Scott McTominay, whilst he bleeds the club and he's come through the ranks, I don't feel he is good enough for Manchester United. He has great games. He scores some great goals. Sometimes he has some good defensive displays, but it's just not quite at the United level. Okay, now with Fred, he has got a lot to build upon, but I think he is at the moment the most likely replacement for Matic, but he's a lot quicker. He's got to refine a few more things. But actually, if you were to, again, it's one of those things, doesn't happen overnight, but if you were to say, right, I want you to focus on this part of your game, make him more of a player like Matic, but he's going to be quicker, going to retain the ball, going to be able to chase it down quicker, then you've got a good replacement there. So yes, whilst I feel that maybe a world-class central defensive midfielder would be a great thing to go for, I do think we have one there who could be ready-made to replace Matic. I really do.
Yeah, I completely agree with Fred. I've always said, me personally, when I look at a number 6, I like my number 6 to be mobile, agile, and quick. And Fred is all three of those things. And he's press resistant, which is the most important part of being a 6. Yeah. So I think he can play that role pretty well. With McTominay, I agree he's not the best player that we've got on our team. But I think if a player like Scott McTominay ends up being your rotation player, then you've done something right.
Yes,
if we can get to a point where he's the player we bring in to rotate, then we've done something right in our recruitment. Yeah. But we can get by with Fred for now, but we do need to sign someone before Matic's contract ends. Who that is, I don't know. I'd love it to be
Zakaria, mate, all day.
Zakaria is a good shout as well. That's one of your FIFA career modes, people.
Definitely.
Right, before we wrap up, I'm going to go around all three of you. I'll give you, 20 seconds each. Tell me what went wrong today, what should have been changed, whatever. Just give me your general thoughts. Temmie, we'll go with you first. Your 20 seconds, go.
Team shape wasn't the way it should have been. Definitely should have played 3 at the back today. We probably should have played 2 strikers instead of, Mata playing today. He just wasn't as effective as he could have been. But all in all, we got to give positives. The defense was absolutely amazing today, in my opinion. I thought Harry played really well. I thought Victor played really well. I thought Shaw and AWB played well defensively. But we gotta find a way to get more fluid and get these passages of play right again.
Okay, Mark, over to you.
I can't disagree with any of those points, quite honestly. I think we set up incorrectly. I think we should have played a 3 at the back. I know that Fred and Scott can't play together, but when you've got that final man in the middle, then you can. And I feel that we set up way too defensively. It was very cagey. And you're absolutely right. Mata, unfortunately, he was good today actually for what he wants to do, but we needed someone to go forward a bit quicker, get some quicker creativity going there. Whereas he's very good at getting the ball, passing it on, but not quite what you needed in order to get forward and get some more goals. So I can't disagree with anything Temmie said there. Spot on for me. Okay,
and Ollie, last one with you.
To be honest with you, I saw the lineup and I thought it was just exactly the same as the Newcastle game. I think he's missed a trick there. He thinks, that's going to keep working. It's not. So I think for me, earlier changes might have nicked the goal, but if you'll agree, that was a little bit Mourinho-esque. Playing for, a stalemate and then nick a goal. Ollie ball shouldn't be like that, according to, the rest of the fan base. I'm not entirely sure he wasn't playing for the point there. But, a point between 2 good wins, especially against Chelsea, considering last time, I think maybe he'd have gone out and taken that. I wasn't very impressed with it. But, if we'd have taken a goal, that's 3 points, I'd have been happy with that. So, do I agree with the setup? No, I thought it was a bit lackluster and lacking in inventiveness. But I'll take the point, to be honest with you.
Yeah, so the final thoughts with me, then I'll wrap this whole thing up. Basically, I have to agree with the other 3. The lineup was not the way I wanted us to line up. I think we should have stuck with the 5-3-2, 3 at the back, 3 centre halves. But maybe that could have been because Axel wasn't 100% fit. Who knows? The midfield combination didn't work, and when we changed it, I think we brought on the wrong personnel. I don't think Mason was a player to bring on when he came on. He did all right, but I don't think that was the right move. Van de Beek definitely should have come on. I think we lacked a bit of creativity. Throughout the game, it was just a case of one team has the ball, the other one drops off and lets them do it. Because it was a case of the 2 of them wanted to nullify the other. And it looked as if Chelsea were always here to play for the draw, and United were just being United, just not able to break down a defence. But that's just what I think. Guys, in the comments, make sure to let us know what you thought of the game. How do you think this impacts us going forward? Are we in trouble, or do we still have time to recover this? I'm personally thinking we have plenty of time. But some of the comments, you never know with our fan base. A few flip-flops might think that it's all over in time to sack him. On that note, cheers for joining us for the live match reaction. Make sure to leave a like, comment, and subscribe to All for United, because there's plenty more where this comes from. And yeah, we're still going to win the Champions League. Don't worry, lads. In a bit.